I'm Mike at it.
Right.
This topic, he gave me a little time to think about this, so I got to thinking about what the topic could be, and I thought it'd be on the stones. There's some books here that somebody might be interested, because this is a topic that spans several parts of the book, but is tied together by a couple of integral parts, because certain questions are asked as I'm going through the steps, and I need to know what the answer is. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. On 75, as we all know, after the fifth step is where it asks me certain questions. At the bottom of 75, after I've done the fifth step, it says, returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour. Carefully reviewing what we have done, we thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know Him better. Taking this book down from the shelf, we turn to the page that contains the 12 steps. Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, we ask if we have omitted anything, for we are building an arch through which we shall walk a free man. Is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Have we skimped on the cement that went into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? So for me to be able to answer those questions, I have to know what the stones are. I have to know what the cement is and what are its elements. Otherwise, I'm just reading right past it. Like most of what I did in the past and what most people do, read past words because I want to act like I know what they mean so nobody will think I don't know what they mean, which is human nature, but for this book it can be deadly. So what are these stones that they keep talking about? And they're talking about this arch. It sounds like constructional language. The first stone is going to be in Bill's story on page 12. He's talking about after Ebby comes to see him. He talks about on a foundation, he said, why don't you choose your own conception of God? He talks about, upon a foundation of complete willingness, I might build what I saw in my friend. So the first stone is the foundation stone. And it's the foundation of willingness. And that's one of the first stones that they're talking about. The second stone, I find, is on page 47. It talks about, do I believe, or now am I willing to believe, that there's a power greater than myself? It says, it's repeatedly been proven among us that upon this simple cornerstone, a wonderfully effective spiritual structure can be built. So now we see that this constructional language is by no accident. It was put in there as a framework, and the words around this structure was put in there to help explain what the picture he's trying to paint. Because many great speakers and orators over the years use analogies to get across points. And this picture of this construction, the stones, the cement, and the picture it conjures up in our mind when we walk through it is something that was by design. So, am I willing to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity? The next stone is going to be on 62, as we well know, is in the third step reading, right before the third step prayer on 63. It talks about we had to quit playing God. We decided He was going to be our director. He's the principal. We are His agents. Most good ideas are simple. And most good ideas are simple. And this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arch through which we pass to freedom. Again, the arch, another stone, and what is its purpose? So, what started off as willingness, belief, and He's the principal, and I'm His agent, and He's the Father, I'm His children, is the keystone in the great and triumphant arch through which I pass to freedom. Now when we go back to 75, this thing seems a little bit more clear, because it says, is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Well, now I know what the stones are. It's important to know what the stones are. And it says, have we skimped in the cement put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? So the next question is, what is this cement he's talking about? Where's that? What are its elements? Evidently it's important. He asked me about it. 17 has the cement. It talks about it here. Passengers in a great shipwreck. Steered to captain's table. What that means is rich or poor. This disease has the power to kill. It's an equal opportunity destroyer from Yale to jail. What it's talking about, Unlike the feelings of the ship's passengers, however, our joy in escape from disaster does not subside as we go our individual ways. The feeling of having shared in a common peril is one element in the powerful cement which binds us. But that in itself would not have held us together as we are now joined. The tremendous fact is we've discovered a common solution, a way out in which we can absolutely agree, which the 100 people agree. We don't necessarily agree today, and I won't go into that. But the real point is that what it says about the cement and what it says its elements are. What does it say? Sharing in a common peril is one element in the powerful cement. What we have is a common solution. So what it says is many more elements of the cement are solution-oriented rather than problem-oriented. And, I have to think about all the meetings I go to, and if it wasn't for some old-timer that would get us back to the book or get us in the solution, it would be easy for everybody around to go around and talk about their war stories and qualify themselves. Sharing in a common peril is one element, but what it says is that most of the elements is about the solution. And that's kind of where I operate. I tend to believe it's nice to talk about the ditch, but I like to talk about how do I stay out of the ditch. Because lately I've been seeing a lot of people fall back in the ditch. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm making a commonplace observation that in the last year, it is an epidemic. It's unbelievable. And I've been around here a while. So for me to say I've seen more people go out in the last year over next to nothing. Over she didn't call me back in 5 minutes on a phone call. Let me go shoot heroin. I mean, we come up with reasons that are just don't make any sense at all. And that just goes to show me it's not the bad times that tend to trip us up. It's when things are good or when things are not really that bad. A lot of times for me, when things are real bad, I rally the troops. I'm making 3 meetings a day. I'm calling everybody I know. But let me get a little complacent. Let me, feel like, wow, I didn't think about using today. Maybe I don't need that meeting tonight, That's why a topic like this is important, because I need to be constantly vigilant. I mean, the big book talks about it. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because my adversary, the devil, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Now, if you think that sounds hokey, just stick around for a little while, because on 46, it talks about if I do certain things, I begin to be possessed by a new sense of power. That implies I was possessed by an old one. And I know for a fact the lower power does not want me to be happy. It does not want me to know what these stones are. It does not want me to stay in the solution. It does not want me to construct that spiritual structure, nor does it want me to walk to freedom. It wants me to stay in that peril, and it wants me to drag as many people back there as I can. So this topic is multifaceted because everybody heard something different. You could have heard willingness. You could have heard belief. You could have heard principle and agent, he's the Father. You could have heard about sharing in a common peril. You could have heard about the solution. You could have heard anything in that topic is what's open for discussion, but you can see that the common vein of it is the answer to the questions on 75. What are the stones? What are they building? What are their construction? What are the elements of the cement? Now, when you see that page, you'll never see it the same again because of how Bill constructed the steps in the book around this simple visual picture of building something, keeping it strong, shoring up its foundation when things get tough, making sure that I'm aware of the things I once was so certain of and not let complacency whittle away at my foundation. I got to keep forever vigilant because I've been around here a long time, and the chances of me hearing somebody say something new in that book that I hadn't heard are absolutely nil. I haven't wanted to use in a long time, but I still make 2 and 3 meetings a day. That's why I've stayed around. Because I try to stay in the middle of this thing and not stand on the edge. Because if I'm in the middle, I ain't going to fall off the edge. So anyway, that's the topic. I appreciate you asking me to do it. I asked somebody before this meeting, have you ever heard of the stones? And they said, sure. But now I bet maybe. It might not have known what I was talking about. But now we know what the stones are. I get excited about this. I don't know if anybody can tell, but I get excited about this stuff. And a topic like this is worth getting excited about, right? Because it makes the big book come alive to pull all these things together to a common thing. That's what started getting me excited. I listened to Joe and Charlie tapes when I was young in recovery, and they got excited about it. And they were the quintessential big book thumpers, and I really got into it. So I hope you enjoyed that topic. Those of you that grabbed a book and followed along, those of you that are going to work the fifth step, when you read 75, you'll know what it means now. Because after we work these steps, we can no longer claim ignorance. And with that not claiming ignorance comes a responsibility. To myself, to the people I share this solution with, and more importantly, not just what I share, the people that watch my feet, because it's easy to sing in here, but what am I bringing out there? That's the main part. Anyway, I've had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps in my past.